Welcome to Grow Your Strength. We have a new program today. I'm going to start the new program with breathing, and I like to take my breathing either to a face up or a face down position. Just taking some time to adjust the posture through the neck and shoulders, a little chin tuck. What's the curve of your low back like? Do you need to teeter that down a bit? If you're not comfortable lying with your legs straight out, feel free to bend them, bring your knees together, walk your feet out. This is easier on the back. Take this time to focus on a long, slow inhale. And as you exhale, consciously try to let go of any tension you might be holding in your body. Just melt that away into the floor. Working on getting the breath as deep as possible into your interabdominal space, all the way around, and not elevating into the neck and shoulders is key. After your next breath cycle, we'll take it onto hands and knees. Work our flexion extension of the back. About 5 cycles, taking some time to spread the fingers. Got the knees just a little wider than hip width so that I can easily round up into flexion. And then slowly roll through my spine, dropping my front side down, gently pulling my shoulder blades together and looking up. I'm going to take those shoulders away from your ears. After your 5 cycles, just sit your hips back a little bit towards your heels. Bring your hands together underneath your shoulders. This is 2 times per side. We're going to take one hand off and slowly watch the hand as you open up and look at your fingertips. The hand on the floor is important though, so you can push into the floor and try and get a bit more rotation out of your upper back. Open the chest. It's nice and slow for those 2 times per side. The hips are back towards the heels, so I'm not rotating through my low back. This is between the shoulder blade, thoracic spine area, and the cervical, the neck. My arm in the air, I'm sort of sinking into my shoulder, trying to create some connection, some light tension through my shoulder blade. That's a really good one to improve posture. Could probably spend a lot more time there. I took it to side lying hip cars and then some side planks in this program. So taking some time to stack the knees and feet. I've rolled my top hip forward. Think of this as a warm up for your core as well. Could you stop and hold your leg at any point as you circle? Looks like I'm circling my knee around, but it's coming from my hip. Trying to breathe nice and deep in and out through my nose if I can. And then reverse as you go back. Can you feel the muscles through the hip activate? I'm not moving through my back. And then before we switch sides, we'll take it into some side plank resets. So with this side plank, I'm going to keep my bottom leg on the floor. There's some variations here. So you want to be careful that you're not loading into your shoulder in a shrug. So you can shrug for a second and then push your elbow in and center the shoulder. Okay, so version 1 would just be to bring the hips up. Then you might consider bringing the top leg up, and you might also consider bringing the top arm up. How long you hold these moves is up to you. You think of this as a hip hinge. So I'm not coming straight up and down. I'm pressing my hips forward, right? And then I'm finding the variation. I just reset my shoulder by really pushing my elbow into the floor. I can tighten up my hip. And in the top shoulder and bottom shoulder, I'm connected. I'm not loose. And I'm definitely not shrugging. We'll do 3 resets. So you might be feeling a bit fatigued, or maybe that they didn't work for you at all. This is an exercise in itself, just loading the weight into your shoulder. Okay, so you don't even have to lift your hips. So that would be here, head back, breathe. Right, we're time under tension through the shoulder. So you've got some options there. And then we'll come back over to the other side. We'll go back to the hip cars and we'll do the side planks on this side. So just taking some time. Once again, think of it as a core exercise. Are you in control? Don't yard your leg anywhere that it doesn't want to be. Your circle might be smaller than mine. The one thing with the side planks that I've noticed is that it feels different side to side often with clients. So be mindful of that. Maybe this shoulder is not quite as easily set into that sort of connected, centered position. Perhaps as you come up, you feel less strong on this side or stronger. Ideally, we want to always work towards balance. So we'll just take time to think about what we're doing. Anti-shrug the shoulders, top leg, hip. I've got a little squeeze on there. And then again, maybe you're feeling a bit tired, so you just take the last reset as something that you're putting weight into your shoulder. Nice deep breathing. There you go. Okay. So now we'll put a loop band on if you're working with a resistance band. We're going to start with bridges, and the variation is a 1.5 bridge in this program for 10 reps. Well, that's the suggestion. So I've got the band just above my knees, chin tuck, make sure my posture is okay. I've got a little bit of tension on the band. I'm going to bridge up to full hip extension, come halfway down, bridge up again, and then come down and reset. Now, if the tension is too much on the knees, you might need to let the knees fall in a little bit or bring your feet just a little closer together. So again, it's up, halfway down, up, and back down. And do 10 of those. As I bring my hips up into full extension, if this is my sandwich, there's so many different ways of talking about activating your hip muscles. But if this is your sandwich and these are your buns, you can just squeeze them together a little bit. You don't have to over squeeze, just activate so you feel like there's some work going on through the muscles. After you finish your 10, keep the band on. We'll roll to the side. So I'm going to give you 2 options for the clamshells. So the first option is what we've been doing in classes, where you're just lying on your side and doing the knee-only clamshell. And the second option, which would be a little harder, is to come back up to that side plank, and just coming up into that hip forward from the side plank. Now I do my clamshell and then I come back down. Okay, so it's knees and feet stacked, extending the hips forward, feeling nice and solid with that, and then working on the knee only clamshell. If this feels like too much, then of course take it back down here. And I would say if you're doing from the floor, you could work on about 10 reps. And from the side plank, I'm resetting every time. So I come up, clamshell, come back down. So you've got options: up, clamshell, reset. Okay, so just count the reps. It feels not too easy, not too hard, and then switch and match what you did on the other side. Side plank, clamshell, back down. Make sure the shoulders set. Work feels like it's coming from the hip. So adding the side plank makes it harder, doing a few less reps than I would if I was lying down on my side. From here, we'll take the band off, and we're going into a down dog, alternating with a plank hold. And I'd like you to think about your feet as you come up into the down dog. I'm digging my toes into the mat, and as I come up into the down dog, I'm pushing my heels back towards the floor, and then I'm weight shifting forward and really trying to get some bend in all of my toes. That almost looks like I'm coming into a bear position. And then I go back into my down dog. And depending on the pace you're going, you could do this 3 to 5 times. Making sure your shoulders stay centered, not falling into a shrug or anything that feels unstable. And then just take a moment to shake out the wrists. I'm going to take it right from here to a plank, about a 3-breath hold plank, and then a lower to the floor. So if you use a cushion underneath your front side to give you some feedback, soften the landing, shall we say. Here's my high arm plank. 3-breath hold. There's 1, 2, 3, and I'm trying to control myself very slowly, bringing my shoulder blades together the way down to the floor. Nice job. Okay, let's do this one more time. So this is 3 to 5 down dog, releasing the upper back, lengthening the back, getting some good stretch through my back side of my knees right now, and then bending into some toe movement, some rocks through my toes, back up to the down dog. My body feels like it should hold that for a little longer. I'll have to remember that later. And then into the toes. And if that's enough, then that's enough. And then we go into the plank. Did you use the cushion? Did that help? Stepping back. Okay, I'm anchored in my fingers. Activated the hips. Not letting my head drop. 3 breaths, and then as controlled, a lower to the floor as possible. Excellent. Okay, we're going to come to standing next and work on some calf raises with the option to put a ball between your heels and using balance support if you need it. I'm going to take my toe spacers off now. I've got some standing work. So I put the ball down between my heels. Open up the toes, and you can gently squeeze the ball as you lift and try to use that toe bend that we just worked on the floor. A little balance support could be near a piece of furniture or tip up a roller, sometimes just a little help. Then you can let go of the help and come back down. Now, if you have flat feet or your arches have decreased over time, you can focus on squeezing the ball and pulling the soles of your feet together as you come up. If your arches are normal or you have high arches, just holding the ball to give you that connection. You don't have to over squeeze. Right, bringing yourself into this up to 10 times. When I come up onto my toes, I want to get good control. When I think about my small toes, I often lose my balance. And then if you want to add breath, you could inhale with your heels on the ground. And then exhale as you come up. Gently squeeze that ball and you can feel all the core muscles recoil. So inhale, heels on the ground. Nice and deep. Exhale. And that helps that floor through pelvic floor, through core alignment. We'll take it right into some extension reaches now. So take the feet a little wider. If it's too easy, take the feet narrower. Here you're fully extending your body a little bit more dynamically, lifting the heels if you can. Reach for the roof. Try to control that up movement and then pull yourself back down. And wherever you're at, let's do one more of these. And then we'll take it into some weight shifting. So taking some time to just gently take your foot off the floor and weight shift, trying to keep the alignment of your foot arch, your knee, and your hip. So this is actually what we're aiming for, just side to side, thinking about what sort of lights up on the knee and hip to keep your upright posture and to not let things collapse in. You're going to be thinking about that. Sometimes when the foot feel sends the message to the brain, the toes want to scrunch up and kind of help keep you stable. So that's okay because the toes need to be connected, but try to keep them as open as possible. Be thinking about that as you go side to side. Now, the new balance exercise that I wanted to show is actually taking this to a single leg balance. I would suggest you start with a light weight, so 5 pounds is fine. You want to bring yourself to one side. So now I've got a slight bend in my knee. My foot is open. And if you can't balance on one foot, you're going to have your back toe just touching the floor, just helping you as a kickstand. Otherwise, the back foot comes off the floor and you're slowly passing the weight. To make this a little easier, you could fix your gaze on something. So stare at something sort of ahead of you and try to pass it from the left into the right, 10 times or so. Just taking some time to let your body make the adjustments it needs to do as you change the weight, right? Your center of gravity, your foot has to react to what's going on. Don't get frustrated if you have to tap the toe down or do a few passes with the toe on the floor or even all of them on the floor. In time, this will come. Switching feet when you're ready. Remember to have a slight bend in this knee. And if you can't hold yourself stable, things are all wobbly, then just do that, right? Teach your brain what you want it to do. And then maybe try one with the foot off. Nice deep breathing as you pass through. So a great exercise for a lot of different things, including balance. But I feel a lot going on in my ankle, my knee, and my hip. So I'm happy with that choice. From there, we'll take the feet wide and no weight required. Let's just sit back and get a good stretch through the inside of the leg. Come back up to posture and over to the other side. I'll show you from this angle. You want to be thinking hips back. So I don't want to put stress on my knee or my back by going forward. So as you shift the weight, hips back. hips back. Okay, so now we've warmed that up. We'll go 3 side steps per side. So I'm going to step to the side, okay, and then I want to come up. Now you can either step here or come into a balance, okay? So now we're making that more dynamic balance. Get the hips back, stare at something, and stop this, right? You want to be able to create the hip strength and stability in that sideways motion. Great. Try the other side. Take your time. Hips back. Oop. Tap down. That's fine. Okay, this is really big. I need to do my own focus instead of looking at the screen, thinking about the next exercise ahead and actually trying to balance on one foot. That was funny. Static lunge up and down. This is just taking yourself into a split stance. Now I'm going to suggest that if you want to add load, this would be a good time to get some dumbbells or a weight in the center. I am going to tuck my hips under, and so I feel quite aligned, and go up and down 6 times. Now here you would be with dumbbells. I'm working around recovering from a little injury, so I'm not going to load myself in these quad knee dominant moves, but things are improving, so that's always good. So just take your time to sink the back knee down. Cues to be paying attention to: the front foot is not too scrunched, it's active, right? The knee tracks over the foot, or if you have weak arches, you can try and think about knee maybe a bit over towards the baby toe, but just don't let the knee wander in too much or out too much where it's all loose, right? Okay, switching sides. Did you need to tuck under and get aligned? Pull yourself down. If you do that tuck, you might feel more of a stretch through your thigh and the front of your hip as you go into these lunges. Good. And I always remember that the rep suggestions are just that, and you can modify if you need to. The last exercise in this set is a squat and press on one side. So this one I am going to grab a weight that I know I can press overhead well. So that's the factor. Okay, we usually can squat with more weight than we can press. So the limiting factor in this is going to be your press. Don't press through pain. If your shoulder can't press all the way, you could go to here. You could also just hold a weight at the shoulder and make this about the squat. Okay, so you've got a few options there. Again, I'm going to stick with the rep range 6. Open up the shoulder, pull back down, squat, up, press, back. Looks great. Okay, connect with your feet. You want to squat to a depth you can control. So this is a good learning curve for me with my injury, only to where I can control not moving through any pain or discomfort. Good. Okay, so let's run through this set again today. So we started with the balance weight passes. How did you feel with the weight that you used? Okay, if you're finding this exercise way too easy, then do increase the weight, but also be careful what's going on in the neck and shoulders. Okay, you're not letting the weight pull you, trying to stay balanced with your breath. Remember those toes. The toes are spread and aligned. You've got a wider base of support through your foot. Makes it easier to navigate balance and walking. Okay, your gait and all. Switching. Nice deep breathing. For the side steps to balance, if you wanted to hold a weight, you could, right? You could hold a dumbbell here, two little dumbbells here. You're stepping out and coming to balance. Lateral hip stability. Think about why this might be good if you tripped on something and your leg went out to the side. You don't want it to give out and fall over, right? So you pop your leg out to the side and you're stable, and you can prevent yourself from falling. Okay, wonderful. One thing I really enjoy about coaching balance practice is seeing people's balance improve, because it is kind of like magic. It's great to see. Okay, so this was the split stance lunge. Option to take weights here, here. I tucked my hips under just a little bit, so I got a little bit more stretch response going as I drop my back knee. Your front knee can stay over your ankle, or you can pitch it forward a little. Just be mindful of how that feels on your knees. And it's interesting that I wrote this in the program because I didn't really think about it at the time, but this is the exact exercise that my physio gave me for my knee rehab. So tucked under and down. Maybe I was thinking about it. I don't know. It's weird. I'm just like, I guess I put this in for me. All right, here we go. Nice stretch through the front of the thigh there. Good. And then the last exercise was the squat and press. So taking a weight that you know is good for you and your shoulders. Squat to a depth you can control. Press, pull. If the weight is well within your control, you can up the weights. You also have a bit more liberty of the direction of the press. See how as I rotate out and I press up, this is a weight I can hang out with overhead. If this weight was a lot heavier for me, I would definitely not be hanging out in the overhead position with this demonstration, right? How about those toes? How about the knees? Watch that the knees aren't caving in. Out, out, out. Think wide as you pull your hips down. Excellent. Feels good to move, right? So there's always this thing called gift of injury. When you have a little injury, you learn a lot about your body and a lot about how that happened in the first place. I shall stop. Weighted carry on one side. Here we go. That works quite well for these classes. I should use that more often to balance the program on. Okay, so if you pick up a weight and we walk for about 30 seconds forward and back on one side, you want this weight to be training your core, but you want to be able to be in control of it. I can just take a few steps forward and back, not leaning into that weight and not overcompensating on the other side. So you're aiming to be balanced. Bring the attention to the reverse, get the toes involved, push through the back of the knee and the hip, and then switch it up. We'll go for about 5 more seconds and then take a quick 5 seconds to either switch from the floor or switch in hand. So I'm just going to hip hinge back, switch sides. Some of you can do that from standing. And then here we go. Taking the time, think about those toes. Remember, bend in the toes, Roll through the foot, push that knee back gently, and then activate the hip muscle. 15 more seconds. Last 5 seconds. And we'll carefully put the weights down. The next exercise is a bent over fly. Here's the body weight version. Okay, so I'm in a slight hip hinge. I open my hands. If you haven't done a lot of this work, really start with light weights and then find that neutral back hip hinge position. And as you open, you can have your palms forward, thumbs slightly rotated to the roof. Depending on the control you have, you just want to be mindful of not only how far you try to go, but whether or not you're accidentally hiking into the neck, okay? So keep the rep range low. Be thinking shoulder blades, kind of back of the armpits area, because you don't want to aggravate or trigger any tight muscles into the neck. That looks good. That's called the bent over fly. Next up, we're doing push-ups. And if you do push-up variation from the wall, you'll go over to a wall, an elevated surface. If your variation is a plank from the floor or a plank lower, then that's where you'll come back down to the floor. I always like to cue the hands, so spreading the fingers and making sure you establish a good plank position first. Then when you're ready, you're pulling yourself into the wall or floor and pushing away. Think about using your shoulder blades come together. All of your shoulders are helping you push away. This isn't just an arm exercise. You kind of know the number that you can do, and what that lower that I did in the warm-up, that would also be a good exercise for a variation, I guess, for building your push-up practice. For McGill holds, we're going to lie on our back. Take some time to roll the head side to side, loosen up, and then chin tuck and align your neck. When you do that, what's the position of your low back curve? Do you need to teeter the mid to low back down a bit so these muscles are activated and aligned? Okay, options. Keep your head on the floor if your neck is sensitive. Activate this part and then lift the foot. The bent knee foot, you can push in to the floor and maybe gently push away from it. That really helps to increase the activation that you feel through this section. If your neck isn't sensitive, you could consider lightly lifting, like lightly putting your fingers the base of your skull and lifting the head as well as the foot. How long you hold this is individual, right? I usually count breath cycles or suggest that. Switch the top knee, right? Remember, loosen the neck, chin tuck. Leaving your head on the floor is such a great option if your neck is sensitive. And you can even try pressing your tongue lightly into the place where your front teeth on the top meet your palate and your gum. And you might feel a little difference in the neck muscles and how they feel set when you do that. I can't do that and talk at the same time. Let's do 2 of these per side. 3 to 5 breath cycles. If you're new to this, less. Could be just 1 breath cycle. You can do the tongue on the roof of the mouth with your head lifted as well. Just give it a go. Nice deep nasal breathing in and out. Press into that foot. Okay, and then I've taken us back to the seated row with the loop band in this program. So I grab a long stretchy band, lace it around the feet, and get nice and upright. I want to finish the row with my elbows at the sides, not further back. So adjust the tension appropriately, walking your hands forward or giving yourself more slack. As upright as possible. Release the tension and then squeeze those shoulder blades together. The elbows can be out a little as long as you don't go too far back. You want the front side of your shoulder to be centered and not rotated inward here. So be mindful of that. Okay, little tricks to make the exercise more effective, decrease the chance of hurting ourselves. So here we go. This one would be up in the higher rep range. 12 is a suggestion, taking the time to release the arms, pull back, gaze straight ahead, nice long neck. Great. Okay, so let's go through the push-ups one more time, the McGills and that row, and then we'll move on. So if you did the push-ups in an elevated surface, you're back up to the wall. If your practice is the lower or perhaps integrating just like, okay, that's as far as I can go comfortably, then it's just a quarter push-up or a half push-up or a whole push-up. Watching that the head doesn't drop. Keep active in the hips. Pull yourself down. Push away. These lowers, they take time, but they do build the push-up practice, and that's what we want. Oh, I finally finished the podcast of Dr. Stuart McGill and Dr. Peter Attia. That was available for free on Dr. Attia's website. And these exercises, the McGill hold, the McGill curl. This is one of Dr. McGill. He's a back guru, if you haven't heard of him. One of his top 3. So here we go again for our second set. Set yourself up. Connect. Breathe. Strengthening the core muscles without putting stress in through the back. Using the breath, nice deep diaphragmatic breath in and out. And different cues like the foot pushing in just a little, all help to give you more muscular connection, activation. Call it what you will. Keep using different words so that the cues translate into better movement for you. Breathe. In and out through my nose. That long, slow exhale, if you can really lengthen the exhale, you'll really feel the recoiling of the muscles. 2 per side. Maybe your neck's getting fatigued, so stop lifting the head off the floor. Chin tuck, find this, lift, tongue on the palate. There we go. You can even have your arms at the sides. Just slightly lift it off the floor. I'm not in a shrug. Right, okay, and then we have our row. Get upright, get the tension just right, pull back. Beautiful. And there's 12. I'll take us to standing after this for one more of the carry on one side for 30 seconds a side. Was the weight that you were using challenging enough? Let's take a quick sip of water here. Okay, let's go ahead and pick that up. If you're more comfortable staying stationary, then do. And if you can walk with the attention to that toe, dig in, push the knee back, tighten the hip on that side. We'll go about 10 more seconds on this side. Good, and then we'll carefully put that down and switch. Here we go. So whatever weight you have on one hand, you're putting twice the amount of torque through the other side of your core. So there's a lot of things going on here so that your gravity just doesn't pull you down here. This side is working very hard. And there we go. There's our 30 seconds on that side. Bent over fly. Did you use weights or just your hands into a slight hinge position? If you haven't done a lot of this work, it can feel quite fatiguing with a low number of reps. So keep that in mind. Like I said, the first round, be mindful to stay out of the neck. Head is loose. I'm not creating tension up through my neck as I do this. Okay, so I'm going to finish today's class with a get up practice. Some of you know the full get up, and that's great. If you do and you want to just do a full get up practice as I'm talking, please do. So what I'm going to coach today, though, is the step from where we were last time, which is the high bridge, to passing the knee through. So in the last set of 6 classes, I did the get up, roll to the elbow, come up to the hand, and then into the high bridge. And one of the reasons that this is a nice carryover is because it helped you to learn how to bring your hips up. Now, when we do the get up and we come to the tall sit position, you don't have to high bridge. You can lift up and just slip your knee through. But if you think about what that is, there is kind of a high bridge in it, but I'm not really going to the height that I was holding my high bridge. So the idea is that you bring yourself up and bring your knee through. And for this lesson, we'll just go with that knee and then kick it back. See how much control I have between my shoulder, my hand, and my foot, right? It just feels like the right distance to do that. So that's some coaching cues for the step of bringing your knee through. I'll show you on this side a few times. So I've lined up my connection. My shoulder is down, shoulder blade down to the floor, whether I have no weight, like just make a light fist, or a weight. Roll to the elbow, make sure I'm not in a shrug. Come up to my hand and adjust the hand so that I can pull up. Bring the knee through. Bring the knee back, down, elbow, and all the way to the floor. As you come down, you're just retracing the steps. A lot of times people kind of like, oh, they just kind of collapse down through the shoulder and roll. You don't want to do that. You want to be in this nice tall position. Bring it to the elbow, no shrug, and then pull all the way back down to the floor. Wow. Okay, so some new learning today. Thank you for growing a stronger version of yourself with me in the group. I look forward to seeing you again next week.